Reports allegedly claim that there will be no boxing matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Joe Cordina on October 12th.
Limited info really. Spoke to Shakur last night. He damaged his hand in camp. He's been training in Colorado, sparring, and went to get a scan last night, and he's torn the tendon in his knuckle. He had to go for immediate surgery, which he had this morning.
The 27-year-old southpaw, Shakur Stevenson, won the vacant title via a decision victory over Edwin de los Santos in November and made a successful first defense against the 12-1 Artem Harutyunyan the following month. His win over Artem was met with jeers, and some fans even left before the final round. Similarly, his defensive approach in the fight against Edwin de los Santos had drawn boos from the crowd. Stevenson faced loud boos from fans during both of those fights, but the most painful moment came when his supporters began leaving the Prudential Center, starting in the 8th round of his bout against Harutyunyan. On the other hand, Joe Cordina was eager to meet a fresh challenge in the lightweight class, where he hoped to land a world title fight. Reflecting on his recent loss to Anthony Cacace, the Welshman noted the need to start over at 135 pounds, where the competition was intense. Knowing the great power of his opponent, Cordina had entered the ring 3 months ago against Anthony Cacace from Northern Ireland. Cordina lost his title in the 8th round after giving his brave efforts. Despite the loss stinging, Cordina was resolved not to dwell on the past. Rather, the 32-year-old saw the future ahead, focused on the lightweight category, which was home to some of the most well-known stars in the sport, such as Shakur Stevenson, Denis Berinchyk, Gervonta Davis, and Vasily Lomachenko. He stated, "If there's a world title there, and it can be made, then why not?" Cordina said. He underlined the need of facing top-level rivals who make him afraid, an emotion he thinks will highlight his greatest performance. "My fear of losing is massive. That fear of losing, of fighting another champion, that's what I want to feel. That's what would bring out the best in me. I'd happily jump in with the champions. Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, and Berinchyk. Give me 10 to 12 weeks and I jump in with them," Joe Cordina commented in an interview, mocking Shakur Stevenson's call-out of Tank Davis. Cordina expressed skepticism about anyone being able to challenge Tank Davis effectively, and took the opportunity to poke fun at Stevenson, suggesting that his confidence was misplaced and unnecessary.
I'll be honest, I don't see anyone beating Tank in that way. I don't see anyone. Well, I'm at the weight now, so I might just throw a lucky dig and throw him a kick. But nah, listen, he's. I just think he got, since he beat the likes of Leo Santa Cruz, his confidence has just gone through the roof. Now he's talking like everyone else is now. Do you get me? He never used to talk like that, but he's giving it. Then he boxed Rolly, and he's giving him some. And yeah, I'm a massive fan of him. Do you get me? So.
Shakur Stevenson has called out Gervonta Davis many times. Shakur's excitement about fighting Tank Davis makes sense, given that Davis is one of the biggest stars in boxing right now. Stevenson feels that a match against Davis would be one of the most important and high-profile fights coming up. "I have the best seat in the house. We all know that me and Tank are going to have the biggest fight in years to come. Everybody and any promoter will want to be involved when that happens. I just sit back and chill and try not to think about it. I'll think about it when it happens." Shakur Stevenson is undoubtedly one of the top boxers at the moment, and a bout with Tank Davis would be highly anticipated. However, Stevenson has faced criticism for not frequently securing knockouts. His recent match against Artem Harutyunyan attracted negative feedback because he wasn't able to finish him off, and some fans label him as boring due to his emphasis on evading punches. In fact, he was even booed in his hometown last weekend. In contrast, Tank Davis is celebrated for his exciting and powerful fighting style. He captivated fans by knocking out his previous opponent, Frank Martin, which has significantly boosted his popularity. Coming back to Cordina, Shakur settled on signing with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom for his next 2 fights, the first being former super featherweight world champion Joe Cordina on the Artur Beterbiev-Dmitry Bivol card next month. It will now not take place due to a hand injury on Shakur's part, something he has struggled with in the past. A statement from Matchroom read, "Due to a hand injury sustained by Shakur Stevenson, he is unable to compete against Joe Cordina on the Bivol Beterbiev undercard at the upcoming Riyadh season event on October 12th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The WBC World Lightweight Champion has undergone immediate surgery. After a successful period of recovery, Stevenson is set to return to the ring in early 2025. Hearn revealed that Stevenson tore a tendon in his knuckle during sparring. He has previously injured both hands in the Harutyunyan win. Stevenson and the promoter set out a hit list of Cordina, #1 contender William Zepeda, and then the fight fans wanted to see a unification against Gervonta Davis. Whether or not the bout against the Welshman still stays his first target and will be rescheduled remains to be seen. This video of Stevenson sparring with his partner clearly shows how he broke his tendon while giving his partner a brutal body shot. However, the speculation about a fight between Shakur Stevenson and Joe Cordina started when William Zepeda pushed their bout date to February. Stevenson was running short on potential opponents. The American fighter wanted to stay active to prove his credentials and show the world his abilities, given his highly regarded technical skills. With Zepeda being an explosive boxer who could have bolstered his resume and boosted his PPV star status, Stevenson had sought other high-profile matchups. Stevenson went on a rant when he admitted that his fight with Zepeda, 28, wasn't in the works anymore. He also admitted that he had approached Vasyl Lomachenko, but the IBF champion had declined the shot at unification. Stevenson, at 22-0, revealed in one of the posts, "Loma just recently said no again." He then stressed the fighter's agency to take the fights, cutting across the promotions, and continued, "Whatever gon' get me paid the most and make the most sense, I'm down." This came after Stevenson, 27, had turned to his social media handle and disclosed that Zepeda had pushed back the date. It was already clear that Oscar De La Hoya and Zepeda, at 31-0, had other options too, and it could have been a stylistically tough fight for the latter. So Golden Boy Promotions and Zepeda postponed the fight. But since Stevenson wanted to stay active in the meantime, he picked up Joe Cordina. Now that fight is also canceled. Also on the news, Eddie Hearn talks with Leonard Ellerbe about matching Shakur Stevenson against Gervonta Davis. The two rival promoters came face-to-face for a friendly discussion about a future fight, without any signs of personal animosity between them. Boxing promoters Eddie Hearn and Leonard Ellerbe, who at least at one time had a very acrimonious relationship, met face-to-face during a press event for Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga, and instead of coming to blows, they engaged in what appeared to be a cordial conversation about the potential for making a fight between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Shakur Stevenson. Here are some excerpts of what both had to say. Ellerbe said, "Tank will be back before the end of the year. We're looking at a couple guys right now, but he'll be back before the end of the year. As it relates to the Shakur Stevenson fight, Tank wants it, but it's all about the timing of everything." To which Hearn replied, "I feel that we've got a two-fight plan with Shakur, hopefully extends, Joe Cordina Zepeda in February. I think Tank versus Shakur is one of the biggest fights in the sport. I think Tank is so exceptional it's going to take someone as good as Shakur to give him a real fight, and I love that fight." At that point, Ellerbe would chime in with some friendly back-and-forth banter, with an energy that starkly contrasts Ellerbe's past comments about Hearn.
Shakur can't beat Tank.
I disagree.
He beat all the other fighters.
I disagree.
He can't Tank.
I disagree.
Tank
Tank loses rounds.
Tank decides to do what he wants to in certain fights.
Me and you could have a big bet on that fight.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
I think Shakur's the man to beat him.
Shakur cannot Tank. He's a very good fighter. A lot of respect for him, what he's done in the ring. Got a good team around him, but he can't Tank. Can't beat Tank.
I disagree with you on that.
Can't beat Tank.
Shakur Stevenson has been targeting Gervonta "Tank" Davis for a while. During his ongoing feud with Floyd Mayweather, Tank was encouraged to fight Stevenson by Mayweather himself, who even shared a video of Stevenson calling out Tank on his Instagram story.
Say, man, look, man, your beef is not with Floyd Mayweather. You sitting here beefing with Floyd. It's a fighter out here that's been calling your name that want to fight you. Gervonta "Tank" Davis, let's make the fight happen, man. I'm tired of tweeting. I'm tired of talking about it. Stop ducking me and let's make the fight happen, man. Come on.
Despite the skepticism, the boxing community is keen on its thoughts about Shakur versus Tank Davis. Bob Arum has made a strong prediction about a possible fight between Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson. In an interview with Boxing Scene, Arum said he believes Stevenson would win against Davis. He also mentioned that both Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez agree with him. Tank Davis is an excellent fighter and a big attraction. So sure, we'd like to match Stevenson, Lomachenko, and Lopez against Tank Davis and see how well they would do. I like our guys to win the fight. All three would beat Davis. I really believe that, but that's why they do the fights, right? Again, we're open to any of that. Shakur's fighting style makes him difficult to hit, but Tim Bradley believes that Gervonta Davis is the only fighter who could genuinely challenge Stevenson. He stated, "The only guy that I think can give Shakur a run for his money is Tank. The only guy, man, because his IQ is right there with him, and he got that power, that one-punch power to end the fight. If he catch In Shakur, bro, Shakur ain't never been hit, but if he catches him, bro, it could be it. Bradley also thinks that if Davis attempts to charge at Shakur, he'll be overwhelmed by him. He added, but Shakur's going to make sure that don't happen, and that's the concentration that he has. He's going to have the concentration all night, and he's going to take limited chances. It's going to be a boring ass fight, but Shakur should be able to pick it off. And if Tank starts to rush in and starts to get ahead of himself, Shakur going to pick him apart. Shaquille Daly believes that it would take just one punch from Gervonta Davis to defeat Shakur Stevenson. He thinks that Tank has the ability to hurt Stevenson in the later rounds of the fight.
So if he faces Shakur Stevenson, how you see that going?
So I feel as though he gets Shakur in the later rounds. If he gets Shakur in the later rounds, I'm about to say Tank really has like that one type of power. Like all he really needs is one punch. Shakur, he gets hit, but he don't get hit a lot. So it'd be like a back and forth type fight.
When asked about how a fight between the two might turn out, like many others, he found it tough to make a call. He said, that's a great fight. You know, I think that's 50-50. Two great guys, two sharp guys. That's a great fight. I really think it's 50-50. They both great fighters. We're not gonna know till they get in the ring. That's a great match. Shakur is sharp. He knows how to box. He's technical. Tank. He's sharp. He can box. He's got power. He can do everything. I think that's going to be a sharp type of fight. Evans Tobler believes that Gervonta Davis is the top fighter at 135 pounds and finds a potential matchup between Davis and Shakur Stevenson highly intriguing. He acknowledges that Davis is currently the face of boxing and commends his team for maintaining his position at the top of the division.
Who do you view as the best of the 135-pounders? It's being billed as this 4 kings, 3 kings. It's sort of hard to keep track, but how do you summarise that division and who's at the top of it at the minute?
There's only one, and that's Gervonta Davis. Everybody else, they're coming up the ladder. So I'd like to see him and Shakur fight, and then we could, we can really say who's the best. But at this moment, he's the best at 135, and I think he's the face of boxing as well. He's exciting, he's explosive, and I think this Gervonta Davis is hard to beat. He's focused, he's zoned in on what he needs to do as a professional fighter, and his team, unbelievable. Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny, that whole team, those men know him. They know him as a man. And when you have that type of relationship with these fighters, the sky's the limit. So Gervonta Davis is, without a doubt, the best at 135.
When asked about how a fight between Tank and Shakur would play out, Tobler said, well, it would be one hell of a fight, but we don't know. We do know one thing about Gervonta, that his IQ is out the ceiling. They don't give him much credit for that, and he can punch too. And then you got Shakur Stevenson, who's one hell of a boxer. We haven't seen him get punched because you can't hit him, so it's one hell of a fight. Clarissa Shields believes that Shakur Stevenson is on par with Gervonta Davis, pointing out that Stevenson earned a silver medal at the 2016 Olympics. She stated, you cannot ask me, is Shakur ready for Tank? And Tank couldn't make it to the Olympics. Shakur went to the Olympics. So, of course, Shakur is on the same level as Tank. Now, they both are great fighters, so let them fight and let them figure it out. But I'm always Team Shakur, and I'm going to be Team Shakur no matter who he fights against. So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.